Good morning. Well, it's a gorgeous morning here, and it's a gorgeous morning here on Jack Lake. Just having my breakfast. Went around and got a bunch of photos this morning as the sun was rising and the mist was rising off the water. Don't have a direct view of the sunrise from here, but the effects on the islands and the shoreline and those type of things, it's just incredible. So now I'm sitting down with my bowl of instant oatmeal. It's maple and brown sugar this morning. In fact, actually it'll be maple and brown sugar every morning this week. Sometimes I bring out other flavors too, but this time all I had on hand was maple and brown sugar. So that's what I'm having. Anyway, eat breakfast here, and then I'll get camp picked up, maybe take a few more pictures, and then I'll be on my way. Yes, Sam, I know you're there. Okay, just plotting out my route for the day. Plan is to make it to North Temperance Lake today, or at least to South Temperance, but preferably north. To get there, we have a 12-rod portage into Weird Lake, then an 80-rod portage into a little unnamed lake, then a 240-rod portage into South Temperance Lake. That'll be fun. And then a 55-rodder into North Temperance from South Temperance. So, good day ahead of us. Kind of a long day, relatively speaking. Won't be as short as yesterday. Okay, we're just leaving the campsite now. It's a pretty decent campsite. It would have been nice if it had been a little bit better swimming area, or if there had been a swimming area at all. And the tent pads weren't the greatest. But it was a nice sight. We were to get the northern lights from there last night. And had those islands offshore, so scenery-wise it ranked very well, very high. So anyway, just going away from the campsite and going to be heading to Weird Lake. We have had a bit of a breeze kicked up this morning, not too long before I put in. But once again, it's from the south, so it'll be behind us all the way. Unbelievable. How often does that happen? Anyway, away we go. Very shallow here. appear to be a portage landing off to the left here. Doesn't look like the greatest landings. This is a 13 rodder, so not very far, not very long distance. Okay, this is better. Now we're entering Weird Lake. Look at these grasses over the side here, aren't they beautiful? Anyway, I actually triple portaged that little 13 rodder because it was a beautiful portage, and I took video, I took stills as I came across. So the second time across, I just brought my camera bag, my camera, and a couple of other little items so I could take a lot of pictures as I came across. And, well, here we are. Because it was a short portage, the fact that I did it as a triple doesn't really matter too much. Looks like we have another rock garden coming up here. There are beavers trying to dam up. I don't know if we can get through here or not, or whether we're going to have to do a lift over. They're busy little beavers. I think I'm going to have to pull up over this unless I can get in through here somehow. I don't think I can. I think I'm going to have to do a lift over. Yeah. Lift over it is. Well, here we are on Weird Lake. Not quite sure why it's called Weird Lake, but that's its name. It's not a very big lake. We've got a short paddle, and then we'll be doing the 80 rod portage into a little no-name lake, and then just a very short paddle before we're on the long portage. It's like the portage landing over to the left here. This is actually going to be a nice landing for a change. Looks promising from the water here. Ooh, beautiful landing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I wish they could all be more like this. It would make soloing so much easier. Before I unloaded the boat, I thought I'd show you how I pack it. First of all, the canoe itself. You can just stand back here so that you can get a better look at the canoe. It's a cedar strip canoe. A lot of people think because it's a wood canoe that it's going to weigh a ton. It actually weighs 40 pounds. So I probably have more in the way of camera gear than the camera gear I have probably weighs more than the canoe does. It's actually fairly lightweight. Up in the bow here, first pack you see, the gray one, that's my equipment pack. I think I talked about that last night and how I pack it. It has all my food and everything in it. Getting a better angle here for the sun. Anyway, behind the equipment pack, you'll see my thwart bag hanging over my thwart. Underneath that thwart bag is my camera bag, where I keep my SLR cameras. Moving back towards the stern, there's my seat. There's the pack that has all my clothes and my tent and my tarp and all those type of things. And then back in the back part here, that's where my chair, my tripod, and miscellaneous items like that go. And now the canoe is ready for portaging. I don't know if you can see it or not from here, but I have the two paddles attached front and back, and I have my portaging yoke on there now. But it's a nifty little, easy to attach, easy to detach yoke. It was made by Kevin Carr of Chosen Valley Canoe Accessories in Chatfield, Minnesota, which is just down the road from my hometown of Rochester, Minnesota. Well, the other end of this portage may have been had a great landing, but this one makes up for it. Lots and lots and lots of rocks. Really tough landing here. I think it took me longer to load the boat than it did to walk the portage. I know it took a lot more energy out of me. We have just a short paddle before we hit the 200 and whatever rod, 240 rod portage up in the South Temperance. I have a feeling I'm going to be staying on South Temperance tonight, so I can push it on to north. It'll be one more portage, a 55 rodder. And I think I'm about spent. And it looks like I've got to lift over a beaver dam up here too, to add a little insult to injury. Looks like some people have made a portage around this beaver dam. I'm going to see if I can lift over it though. So, wish me luck. Well, I made it over the beaver dam okay. Just pulling over it. This is the little pond before we hit the 240 to South Temperance. I think I said earlier that I was going to be probably camping on South Temperance tonight instead of making it all the way to north. That beaver dam didn't help my energy levels at all. And I'm going to stop and have a trail mix break before moving on. It's one of those instances where it's a little bit early for lunch. By the time I get done with the portage, it's going to be a little bit late for lunch. But I find I don't travel well after lunch anyway, so I think it's better just to take on some trail mix and take on the portage, and then worry about lunch when I get to camp. Moose on the bank over here. We're going right by them if I don't make the sound sitting looking at me. It's okay, Sam. Quiet. standing. The lighting is atrocious. She's all backlit. But at least I saw it looked like it was actually a cow moose with a calf. Hopefully you got a good enough view of it on the video. I think you did. Looks like our portage landing straight ahead. This is the long one, the one for the day. We're about 100 rods into the 240 rod portage now. With these longer portages, anything over 150 rod or so, I do what's called a leapfrog portage, leapfrog carry. Take my first load of gear, about 5 minutes or 50 rods across the portage. Then I go back and pick up the second lot of gear, and I carry that about 5 minutes or 50 rods past the first load. And then I go back for the first load and carry it about 100 rods or so, or 5 minutes beyond the first pile, and so on and so on, until I eventually get everything across the portage. And there's three things that does for me. First of all, 100 rods is about how, as far as I can comfortably carry everything. I can go farther if needed, but that's when things start kind of getting to me. So the most I'm doing is 100 rods at a time. Then in between each one of those 100 rods, I get a 5-minute 50 rod easy walk in the woods to recover. And then the third thing it does for me is it keeps me from getting farther than about 5 or 10 minutes from any piece of my gear, especially my food when I'm in bear country. The downside to all that is that then you're also having to lift and put down all your stuff repeatedly instead of just doing that once per piece of equipment per portage. There's my canoe and my other pack. So now I'll hike another 5 minutes. Gotta check my watch here. Okay, it's 1 o'clock right now. So another 5 minutes beyond that. And then I'll put this stuff down and come back for the canoe and the pack. It's getting close to 5 minutes here. So, just gonna find a good place to set everything down. And then I'll go back for the canoe and the food pack. Kitchen pack, whatever you want to call it. So this looks like as good a spot as any. And here we are back at the canoe and the pack. So if all the measurements are right, and this is indeed a 240 rod portage, then I should only have to carry about 90 rods on this carry before I can put the canoe down in water. And also, the rest of my gear should only be 40 rods from the end of the portage as well. So, here goes. This portage isn't particularly tough as portages go. It's just long. And there she is, South Temperance Lake. It was pretty much 40 rods after my last year. I'll just set the canoe and the gear back over to the side here. And go back for my second load. Oh, beautiful sight. I just hope I can camp here. Over there you can see the landing we're pulling away from, hopefully. Here on the South Temperance River. That portage kicked my butt. Not a real tough portage, but it's so hot today. And I'm out of shape. So, there's 3 campsites on this part of the lake. There's another one way over on the east side, but I don't want to be over there. Anyway, check out these 3 campsites and hope that one of them is open. If not, then I'm going to have to find a place to have lunch before moving on. It's a beautiful site. It has a couple of islands just off the just offshore here. Pretty islands, also look nice. Evening. It's a nice spacious site. It's got a really nice tent area over behind the kitchen area here. So here's the tent area, nice and wide open. Could fit a couple of tents in here. There may be other tent pads further back, I don't know. And all I need is one. I got my tent set up. As you can see, I've got my tarp over the top of my tent. It's still not supposed to rain tonight, but it's been looking awfully hazy today, and there's clouds building, especially from the south, and a few coming in from the west as well. So I thought better safe than sorry, and so I decided to put up the rain fly, and then I decided, well, why not put it over the tent for a little bit extra protection if it does rain. And I should be able to just squeeze in front of it and cook under that if I really need to. Here at the campsite, it's getting fairly late in the evening, or late in the afternoon. So anyway, I'm sitting here. I just boiled water, and I filtered water. Boiled water went into my spaghetti that I'm having tonight, and I'm just waiting around for that to finish cooking, because that is 10 minutes so that I can have something to eat, which was a good day anyway, because we saw those moose earlier on, and they stayed around long enough to get both some photos and some footage. Unfortunately, the lighting wasn't the best, but you know, with nature, that's the way it goes. You can't have everything. Anyway, I can't think of anything else to bore with you with at the moment, so I'm going to shut the camera off. My spaghetti should be pretty much done now. I'll start enjoying that, and maybe get a chance to talk to you a little bit later. You can see Sammy's pretty tired here.